Hi, this is Tiffani Bova. I am the Growth and Innovation Evangelist at Salesforce, and I am thrilled to have with me today Geoffrey Moore, also known as the Chasm Guy, but also the author of Zone to Win. Thank you for being with us today.
Well, it's great to be here in Toronto with you, Tiff, and to be part of the program.
Absolutely. Well, we're here at Elevate today, and it's all about Canadian businesses growing. And I know everybody is focused on it, from the CEO down to frontline people. And I think you have this really unique perspective that we just got the opportunity to hear at a masterclass we did for businesses here locally in Canada. Yeah. And I'd love for you to just share with the audience sort of, what did you learn, what did you say, what did you hear that you thought was interesting?
It's good. Well, all this digital disruption stuff is putting a lot of pressure on companies. How much money and how much resource do I put into my existing business, my existing processes? They're feeding the beast, they're serving our customers, and how much do I put into the next generation stuff? And at the beginning of that journey, there's enough money to go around, and so you kind of try to do a little bit of everything, but there comes a time in the journey where there isn't enough money to go around, and you have to prioritize. And so we were talking about the crisis of prioritization,
right,
and this model of zone management, which helps you sort through that.
And I think prioritization, people get confused with what does that mean? It literally means you have to give up something and focus on something else. And I often joke that there's not two firsts.
Yes.
Like your first priority can't be three things.
It's so true.
You have to pick a first priority. And so how do businesses and CEOs and executives make those decisions?
And so, by the way, the best lesson in that is actually watching Tiff's boss, Mark Benioff, do it at Salesforce, because they put all of their initiatives in rank order and they prioritize them publicly so that everybody knows the priorities. That helps. I work with the team and I have them send me what they call their V2 mom. It's their business thing plan for their group, and I know exactly what their priorities are. And it just, what prioritization does is it helps everybody else know what comes first.
Right.
If you don't prioritize, then everybody has to spend time trying to figure out, well, what should I do? It slows everything down, and that's hard.
Well, I think at the end of the day, right, the CEO or the executive's job is to sort of paint the vision.
Yeah.
What should we be focused on and what are we doing? And then you have to actually give to the people that are doing the work every day the why.
Yeah.
Why are you doing what you're doing? And then give them and enable them with tools in order to be successful, more importantly, right, service the customers and grow the business.
Yeah.
But doing those things in harmony of sort of this pull of today's priorities versus tomorrow's investments is really difficult during this prioritization. So how do you balance those two things of delivering today and then delivering tomorrow?
Well, this is where the zone idea comes from in this book, Zone to Win, because each of those priorities needs its own dedicated capabilities. So the performance zone is all about today.
Right.
And if you're in that zone, that's what you should worry about. The productivity zone is all about doing all the features, the activity behind the scenes to make the performance zone successful. That's also all about today. Very good processes, quality, compliance, that stuff. The incubation zone is all about tomorrow. And so that needs a completely different governance model, different culture, and then the transformation zone is when you say, oh my gosh, now I'm going to bring the future into the present. So each of those zones has a different governance model, and companies get into trouble because they try to take the metrics or the culture from one zone and apply it to another zone, and that's when the wheels come off. So the zone management discipline is just know what zone you're in, play by the rules of that zone, and then the transformation, the CEO has to lead that one because that's the one that's the unnatural act.
And not everybody is capable of going from zone to zone. There are some businesses and leaders that are very good in a zone, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're very good in productivity, but not so good in transformation or innovation.
Totally. In fact, this is really important. Most people are better at one zone than another, and most people have a zone that they just as soon never go into. but they do. Now, some people are amazing. Some people can actually do all four. But I think the main thing is find the zone where you're in the zone, right? Exactly.
Right.
Play in your zone, but just do two things. First of all, in your zone, use the culture and the governance model of that zone effectively, but respect the fact that there are three other zones that have three other models, and don't demonize them, don't criticize them, don't complain about them, because they're following a model for their zone, but also don't let them demonize you or complain about you.
Well, what I like most about Zone to Win, outside of the fact that it's your book, is the fact that it gives people a framework by which they can operate. You know, there's so much disruption and so much coming at them from all kinds of angles, right? At events like this, like at Elevate, you know, just within the organization or their board or investors, shareholders, whomever it might be, that I don't know where to begin. And I think having a framework and a way to sort of put out on a canvas, how do I work through some of these really vexing issues so that I can see my way forward, I think is what is so powerful about the zones.
I think so. One of the things that I saw today is, if nothing else, it gives you a place to park the issue for its first treatment. So which zone should I at least start addressing this issue in? Let's use that zone's standards, that zone's methods, and either I put it in the right zone, in which case we'll go forward, or oh my goodness, maybe it should be in a different zone. But if you just try to kind of put it in all 4 zones at the same time, which is kind of, if you don't zone your company, then you're always trying to deal with everything in one big goulash. It doesn't work.
Doesn't work. And then you've got no focus. Then we're back to there's 5 firsts.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jeff. What would you leave as sort of the first thing people could do after listening to these wonderful words of wisdom, besides reading your book, Zone to Win?
Well, I do want people to, what we call, zone their enterprise. At least go through the thought experiment of saying, do we have zones? Because my prediction is you do. But are we respecting them? Do we have different governance models? And then from there, then the next step is, okay, now how do we work better in the zone?
Well, great. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for spending some time with us here at Elevate in Toronto. I'm Tiffani Bova with Geoffrey Moore. We'll see you soon.